just want to see. I have to know to click go live here. So I should be live on them pomegranates. I'm just gonna double check Facebook. Okay, good. That one's good. And YouTube. We can view this. Okay, awesome. So I do believe I'm good. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I am using my work headset. Uh, for anyone wondering why I'm wearing a headset. So I'm streaming this from several devices and specifically on my computer. I use an external mic, a Blue Snowball that I've had for years. But I noticed on at least the last recording, the audio wasn't the best. I'm in a room that has very little sound absorption. I've got hardwood floors in here. It's a pretty echoey room. But in addition to that, the external mic sitting in front of me, if I move my head this way or move my head that way, the sound was cutting in and out. So I'm going to use this for the time being until I can hopefully afford to invest in a higher quality external camera. So I stole this from my work desk, and we're going to be rolling with this cool headset today. All right. But now that we've done that, I've already opened sacred space. I do that with a prayer and a few other ritual things that I've been doing for years, ever since I've done like healing and clairvoyance mediumship work for past clients when I used to run my own business. So that's already been done. But I'm gonna still ding my singing bowl here for you a couple times. If you feel so called, I would encourage you to please take some deep cleansing breaths. This is, as always, intended as a sacred space for us to just be together and kind of release some things from the previous week, get into a new headspace and energetic space for the next week. So, this is your time to kind of give that to yourself. So, if you will, breathe with me. All right. So, welcome. And thank you for joining this week's portion of Enlightened in a Cave. As you may have noticed, we did not have a discussion last week, and that was due to a combination of it being my weekend to work, as well as Rahatsu and Hanukkah falling on the same week. So I chose instead to spend my time in meditation, prayer, gratitude, and with community. It was really cool because I was able to spend the fourth night of Hanukkah with my fellow Jubilees siblings on a Zoom call. And then also, after we were finished with that, I spent it at home with my family, and that was a very bright spot in an otherwise long week of work. So in our previous discussion, which was 2 weeks ago, we focused on the importance of Ma, or inviting emptiness and negative space into our lives, both, in physical space as well as in time, such as, when we schedule our days. So I hope all of you were able to find Ma in the last couple weeks. I know for myself, the simple ritual each evening of lighting my Hanukkah was a beautiful pause in my day. But I also took some days off work to focus on opening space in my schedule and deliberately enjoying the quietness of winter. December in particular tends to be a pretty for many of us, just given all of the winter holidays and festivals that appear in these final months of the year. And if there's one good time to start being mindful of the holiday season is probably it. So originally, I had another topic planned for our third week together, but I typically write my dispositions after I meditate on things. And as I was just kind of moving about my day on the day that I'm writing this, I had planned to sit down and write later on. I was struck instead with inspiration for a different. I'm never one to turn down inspiration or intuition, so I received the message, and this week we'll be talking about something that is both a prayer and a blessing. For many years in my own spiritual life, the idea of prayer fell by the wayside in favor of spells, which I had a mentor once describe to me as prayers with props, which I thought was very appropriate. But as I began reclaiming my paternal ancestral religion of Shinto, prayer became central to my daily practice. However, the prayers I prayed in Shinto were far different from the ones I've been conditioned to think of as prayer by dominant Western religions, namely Christianity, which kind of uh, is very pervasive amongst the culture of Westerners. As a participating member of the pagan and witchcraft online communities for decades, I'd seen largely the prayers and spells that community members trended toward. Most of them were prayers asking for help or to be delivered from pain or stress or to ask for blessings, abundance, and wealth. That last one in particular, I saw very frequently on, I should say, in spaces of pagan and witchcraft communities. I myself once worked magic and prayer for those very things as well. So when my practice started drifting more toward the calling of service several years ago, it seemed the rest of the world kind of started spinning into the idea of manifesting one's personal dreams and material desires. And that's when the idea of self-serving spell work and by extension self-serving prayer became a bit of a turnoff for me. Instead of working magic for personal gain back then, I started working magic and taking practical action for humanitarian rights and ecological causes. Still, though, notably, I wasn't praying. I didn't feel I had anything to ask for aside from world peace and the safety and care of all things and all beings. Prayer felt too passive for me. I needed to feel like I was doing something, whether that meant diving deep in ritual, journeying, or meditation, or if it meant actively writing to my legislators or taking local political action. As a side note of clarification, it is worth noting that some may see ritual or meditation as a type of prayer, but in my personal practice, these acts are very different. So that's why I distinguish them from one another here. So it wasn't until I found myself in front of my altar daily, praying to the ancestral spirits and connecting with the ancient roots of my paternal ancestors. One of the beginning prayers I was taught was simply evening prayer of gratitude, just a simple thank you. So each morning I would pray a short prayer before embarking on my day, and each evening before going to bed, I would thank the spirits of my ancestors for the day. Through this simple yet solemn exercise of my spirit, I began to realize how childish all my early life prayers had been, asking for things and being quite self-centered in my requests and life focus. I realized through these dedicated morning and evening prayers just how powerful the prayer of thank you was. It was so simple, so profound. Even if I had a frustrating day centering at that altar each night and reflecting on my reactions and behavior and how I had applied myself to life, and then uttering words of gratitude for the experience of life itself was enough to reframe my entire view and melt me into a sense of serene awe for the wonder of life itself and my existence and role within it. After that, thank you. Oh no, hold on. I have to pause. My one of my broadcasts just ended. Let me start this up again. It just like disconnected. Okay. Sorry, Instagram, we're back. I just disconnected out of nowhere. All right. So after that, thank you became one of my favorite prayers. And prayer no longer felt so passive to me. It was more like a reflection or a meditation on the day, and then adding some commentary or acknowledgement of how I'd handled things throughout the day. And then the next morning, I'd rise and pledge once again to do my best. And although I would almost certainly fail multiple times through the day at achieving anything close to perfection, I would still find myself at my altar each evening saying thank you anyway and sincerely meaning it. It became a cycle of, here, let me get back on my bike and try again today. I will do my best. And this was the gist of my morning prayer. And then throughout the day, I would fumble along the ride, snapping myself into the present and reminding myself of the pledge I made earlier in the day, adjusting myself accordingly and ultimately failing multiple times, though always failing with sincerity and tenacity. Sort of like a determined child learning to ride a bike, failing but always getting back up and trying again. Then, after the sunset, after my face was washed, and when my mind was ready for rest, I would approach my altar once again with reverence, showing up before the spirits to say, thank you for the experiences and lessons for today, and reflecting upon and hopefully learning from my day. Where had I reacted poorly? Where had I applied myself with great integrity? How could I continue to live my life in the most upright way possible? These were things I thought about, had vowed in reverence before Kami-sama and my ancestors. And in that space of that reflection, a sincere thank you. In Shinto, the most important aspects are to arrive with gratitude and a sincere heart. And that I have always been able to do. It wasn't until the day I intended to write this disposition that I realized that sincere gratitude is not only one of the most powerful prayers, but it's actually also one of the greatest blessings we can bestow upon one another. Have someone warmly, sincerely thank me for something I've done or said is to fill me with a beaming sense of purpose, which is then radiated back out toward that person and others. They bless me with a thank you, and I bless them with the love of accepting that gratitude. Has anyone ever felt bad when they received a genuine, sincere thank you from someone else? Not a half-hearted or sincere, not a half-hearted or sarcastic thank you, but a genuinely heartfelt moment of appreciation. I don't think any hurt or pain has ever come from them. So thus, it is a bright blessing for us to wish thanks to another person. When we thank them, we are blessing them. When they thank us, they are blessing us. We needn't even be religious or spiritual to feel the effects of such a blessing. It's not a supernatural force there, but instead a natural force that connects one human to another through our compassion and eagerness to belong to one another. So this week, if you choose to accept the invitation and choose to end each day with the reflection of your day and sincere gratitude for it, some days it feels far easier than others, especially for those of you experiencing terrible circumstances. But to tap into the powerful prayer and bright blessing, your thanks, is an exercise I think you may find as simple and profound as I have. At least I hope so. May you all experience blessing someone this week by sincerely thanking whatever they've offered in your life. And may you also experience being blessed by another through a sincere thank you. As always, I appreciate the time you've chosen to spend with me, and I hope you were able to take something of value from today's installment of Enlightened in a Cave, and I hope to see you next week. Before we go, I do have an unrelated announcement. So that's kind of that wraps up the gist of Enlightened in a Cave portion. But as part, I just wanted to take this opportunity to talk about this. So as part of my efforts with Healing the Earth, which is an organization I found, as well as my calling to provide a service to my community, one thing I'm opening up is my healing altar. I typically offer this to loved ones when I sense that they're experiencing grief or stress. And I also include it for global crises on behalf of humanity as a whole. But this is the first time I'm openly offering it to anyone requesting to be added to it. There's no cost, requirement of you other than simply asking to be put on the altar for the following week. So then I'll add you to my healing altar, which I will pray over and meditate with daily throughout the week. Change it out and refresh it each week. So if you have like a long-standing challenge that you would like to be added to, kind of ongoing, you will have to let me know each week by commenting on. I'm going to be checking the comments for the Enlightened in the Cave disposition. So comment there for the following week to the healing altar. This is one of the 8 lights I had chosen for myself during Hanukkah as ways I can bring more light to the world. So, for those who don't know, this was my first year celebrating Hanukkah, which is my small part in reclaiming my matrilineal heritage as a matrilineal Jewish person. And it was amazing and it was intense and it was beautiful. And one of the things that I started was each night of Hanukkah, I would sit down and think, what is one way that I can bring more light to the world. So as I would light the light uh, each night we add one more light to the uh, new peak, then I would consider how can I bring light to the world. And one of those ways was kind of opening up my healing altar, which is something that I've maintained for years, but I just haven't like publicly said like, hey, if you want to be put on my healing altar, let me know. So that's something that I've chosen this year to do as a way to bring more light to the world. So if you're interested in being added to the healing altar, just comment your name and that you'd like me to add you. If you have any additional information you'd like to share, such as whether your requested healing is around emotional wounds, or physical illness, self-loathing, mental health issues, drug addiction, religious abuse recovery, anger, the loss of a loved one, a major life change such as a breakup, divorce, loss of a job, etc. Feel free to share those things, but it is not necessary. And if you're not comfortable sharing, you do not have to. You can also ask for healing for loved ones, but I ask that you please, please, please ask for their consent beforehand. That's extremely important to me as far as my ethics and values are concerned in the magic that I work and the healing that I do. Let them know that they would be on a healing altar of a Japanese witch. So that's really important. I want them to know kind of my frame of reference is someone who is coming from this as not only a witch and a healer, but also someone who is Japanese. So make sure that they know that and ensure that they are comfortable with it. For instance, there are some like Christo Wiccans, Christo pagans out there who may not be comfortable being on a healing altar of someone whose practice doesn't include their profit. So just make sure that they know. Again, you can comment on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram with the broadcast of the weekly disquisition, and from there, I will add your name to the healing altar for the following week. I will choose the names by the end of the evening Sunday, so the day of the broadcast. So you have to kind of get your name in quick for that following week. If you comment after that, after I've already set up the healing altar for the week, then I'll just simply move your name forward to the next week's altar. So no need to worry about if you miss a deadline, you're just going to be pushed up. So I just wanted to make sure that I took the opportunity to let you all know of that. And I hope that you are all enjoying the um, month of December. December is kind of for me, it tends to be a little bit bittersweet. The days are a lot shorter, which can affect my like seasonal depression. But this year has been amazing because I've had like kind of back to back festivals all from the beginning of the month, starting with uh, Hatsu, and then that ended up just kind of serendipitously falling on the first night of Hanukkah, which was really, really special. And then after Hanukkah, then now we are, kind of in flux for a few days until we have winter solstice and Koji, and then after that, secular Christmas, of course. And yeah, it's been great. So I hope that you are all staying happy and healthy and caring for yourselves this month because I know it can be a really painful time for many people, as well as a very joyous time. So it's kind of a lot of people on either end of the spectrum. So I like to be mindful. So, oh, thank you. My mom popped in to support me. Hi, mom. And then also, Wheelman Stan, thank you so much for joining. Again, I just want to take the opportunity to let all of you know I really appreciate you tuning in when I do these, whether it's live or if it's after the fact. I don't really have a set time. I try to do them in the mornings, but today we had some other things going on, and I like to get my meditation done in the morning as well as a workout. So today it was a little bit later than I'd normally like, but it ended up working out well. And this week's flowers, you see behind me, I'm gonna bring them up here. I like to have fresh flowers on my altar, and especially for these. So the intention with these flowers is always actually for you all. So people who are viewing these dispositions, so just kind of a nice little piece of eye candy. And Nozomi picked these out for you all this week. I did not have, what was I doing? I was doing something. I think I may have been working, and I did not go to the grocery store. My Instagram keeps closing out, but that's all right. I didn't get to go to the grocery store, so Nathan and Nozomi um, went to the grocery store, and I said, "Can you please get me a bouquet?" And Zoe picked this out. For you all. So I love the color red. It's one of my favorite colors. Anyway, I hope that you are all having a wonderful weekend. I hope you have a beautiful week ahead, and I will speak to you all hopefully next weekend. I do have ambitions of having another Enlightened in a Cave next week. I do not work, but the week after, I believe I do work, so we'll be skipping that week. So like usually every third week we'll skip because I work on the weekend. But yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna pop over to my uh, formerly Iwatoma Magic, now I've changed it to persimmons_pomegranates is the new name for that Instagram, which is my public Instagram. I'm gonna end the live video there, so if you're watching from there, thank you for joining. I have to do it this way because StreamYard has me do it, but thank you so much for joining. And then back to just YouTube and Facebook, I think. So I hope you are all having a wonderful week, and I will talk to you all next week.